and welcome to End of the World News, the podcast, aka Everything is Fake and Lame. How are you doing today, Cindy?
I'm doing really well. How are you, Ben?
Well, I'm doing better than the people of Florida.
Why? What happened in Florida?
Well, my heart goes out to them. A few weeks ago, we were talking about those gangs of dolphins that kidnapped aerospace contractors for indentured servitude to build their underground cities.
Yes.
Well, now they have to worry about sharks addicted to cocaine.
Well, that's probably from the boats they blew up and it all went into the ocean.
Yeah. Well, check out this story. Cocaine-fueled sharks are on the prowl in the Caribbean. Scientists blame partying tourists. Freaking spring breakers. Here we go. This puts the white in great white. Man, this writer is hilarious. Move over, cocaine bear. Brazilian scientists have discovered traces of nose candy, caffeine, and painkillers in sharks swimming in the waters around the Bahamas. These blowfish, get that, aren't just getting hooked on purpose. It's a fallout from an uptick in marine pollutants per a apocalyptic study published by the Journal of Environmental Pollution. And I'm saying this, we know what happens when reptilians do too much cocaine.
Conspiracy theorists, you may hate this, but there's one person protecting your right to be a conspiracy theorist that actually has a seat at the table, and that person is me. You may not want to hear that truth, but it is, and maybe do a little more reading before you pontificate on your absurd and obviously ill-informed and many times stupid opinions. Okay, so because like you're attacking the person who's protecting you, idiot. It's like so stupid,
right? And I can only think, if this is what reptiles do when they do cocaine, imagine what sharks will do.
That's very true.
I almost wonder if like those packs of dolphins that kidnapped that aerospace contractor, they got all coked up from what was in the water and like, hey, we need to kidnap some humans to do all the work for us. Yeah, that's what we should do.
Yeah, well,
But if that wasn't enough to worry about, don't worry. The script writer of The Matrix added some more stuff. Here we go. Army ups max enlistment age to 42. Individuals up to 42 with or without prior military service can now enlist in regular Army, the Army National Guard, and the Army Reserve according to the updated Army Regulation 601-210 published March 20th. AR 601-210 is the regulation that governs policies and procedures for the Army's enlistment process. Man, that sucks for me.
Yeah.
Because I am a spring chicken at the age of, which means I can still be drafted into the Army.
Maybe, yeah.
The updated enlistment age brings the Army in line with the Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard, which all accepts recruits up to 42. The Navy accepts recruits up to 41. The Marine Corps only accepts enlisted recruits up to 28 years old.
Yeah.
The updated Army regulation also allows recruits to have a single marijuana possession or drug paraphernalia possession conviction to enlist without waiver. Such convictions previously would have technically barred potential recruits from enlisting, but those with such convictions were often granted waivers to join the service. Now, this isn't a mandatory draft. We haven't had that for some quite time. Why do you think that the military is, at least the Army at this point, is now expanding, the age demographic on who can enlist? What's the point of all of this?
I personally think it's because they need higher level experienced professionals. The biggest gap right now, if what I've read and what I've heard is true, the biggest gap is in some of these more technical types of positions that they have available. And so what's happening is people stay in, 5, even 10 years, and then they're out. Well, the new recruits coming in do not have the experience or the technical capabilities that they need to pull off a lot of what they're trying to do right now. So so that combined with this idea that AI is taking people's jobs, this allegedly is also goes towards people who have recently lost their tech job. So if you're really desperate, you can go enlist in the army.
Yeah. And this isn't a draft, but I think at some point they might actually bring in the draft. And the first thing they need to do is change the public's perception, because I got to assume there's a lot of people on both sides that don't want to send their kids into a foreign war to die for nothing. And they do this through the influencer, right? The influencer industrial complex. And, Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo, came out and really put a tweet out. And I watched this. I was like, man, I used to watch this guy in movies, and now he's trying to send young men to go to war. Isn't this crazy? But if you know what I'm talking about Rob Schneider.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Rob Schneider came out. He was the copier guy on SNL.
Is
He was.
Is this legit, or is he being sarcastic?
No, this is 100% legit. He went from copy guy to foreign policy expert.
Wow.
Within a span of like 20 years. It's weird how things like that happen. Do you think when Rob Schneider was first brought into the limelight within the Hollywood control system, that they told him at some point, we are going to use you for nefarious purposes, and if you want all the limelight, when we come a knocking, you better make sure you answer that door?
Oh, I'm sure. I would say they probably have to sign something that says, basically, you're part of the system. We can use you whenever we want.
That's what happens when you sell your soul to the devil, when you make the Faustian bargain. And we saw that with the Cooties 19 thing, except it was more left-leaning celebrities that were the propaganda mouthpieces for the global agenda.
Right.
But here we have Rob Schneider, so maybe I'll read what he says real quick.
Yeah. Please do. I want to read the bottom of it.
Here we go. And I quote, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." John F. Kennedy. We must once again recommit ourselves to one nation under God, indivisible. To which I would ask, what God? And if you know anything about Deuteronomy 32, it definitely isn't God Most High.
Right.
Therefore, we must restore the military draft for our nation's young people. Each and every American at 18 years of age must serve 2 years of military service. This could also choose to serve part of the time overseas or in a country in a volunteer capacity. Being a citizen of the United States gives us unparalleled freedoms and opportunities that are the envy of the world. And I'm going to say, as much shit as I talk about America, I do have to say we do have more basic freedoms here than other countries.
Absolutely.
We are, the majority of people are under a spell thinking that the control system is less evil than the control system, say, in China or in Iran or whatever you want to say. But we do have a little bit more freedom here. I have to say that for sure. However, these freedoms that we cherish do not come without a cost. Yeah, like sending your kids to go, shed blood for the ruling elites.
Yeah.
To make some money off of it and to further their global agenda, right? And we know this global agenda, at least in my opinion, is all about collapsing the current system so they can usher in their new system, which will be a one world government, maybe with 10 trading regions, each with a king or someone responsible for 10 regions, but ultimately it's going to be ran by AI. I think what their goal is to usher in the Antichrist.
Oh yeah, for
right?
sure.
But here we go. We'll continue to read. Many nations around the world require their young citizens to serve their country. Until recently, our nation did as well.
And by
guess-
recently, he means 1972.
1972 was the last time they had the draft?
Yes.
Gotcha. This would serve many purposes in our society. You think he wrote this? Or
No.
do you think they just sent him this and said, hey, repost this
No,
copy guy?
I think there's a good chance somebody wrote it for him.
And do you remember the copy guy skits on SNL?
No.
Man, they were funny. And now he is doing this. And this is, if it didn't lead to so much bloodshed, how ironic this is hilarious. This would serve many purposes in our society. We would have all of our young men and women put into rigorous physical training course that they could use for the rest of their lives. We would always have a standing army ready at all times, including for domestic problems like natural disasters. Well, as far as the physical training, I don't think we have to worry about that if, RFK Jr. and Trump get their way and everybody starts taking Ozempic.
Well, I mean, I think they already took care of a lot of our young people by forcing the vaccinations on them.
Yes. And I like how he said for domestic problems like natural disasters, because the government would never use a domestic army for any other purpose than domestic or natural disasters, right?
Yeah, right.
Um,
Because we've been seeing how well it's gone so far and what they tried to go in and take over.
Yes. And unlike in today's universities, our young people will learn how truly great their country is and how unique and incredible are their freedoms that the nation bestows upon them. As he took a little jab at the universities, because we all know those are liberal shitholes. But once again, it's just stoking the division between the two sides. And people hear, oh, of course, these universities are horrible. Donald Trump,
Yeah.
It's clearly a division tactic, if you ask me. Service is a solemn reminder of the men and women before them who paid the last full measure of devotion so that we must enjoy these freedoms. Well, once again, I think men back then were deceived into fighting for wars that only served the global agenda throughout all of history. All the way back to the Revolutionary War.
They weren't necessarily even deceived unless you were able to be like the Bush family and pay them off. So you didn't have to be part of the military. You had
part of the meat grinder.
That's right. You had to go. That was part of what you had to do. So I don't know. I think there's a lot. When you really talk to and this is lost. So this is an elevation of a past memorial. It's actually an elevation and memorialization of horrible things that have happened in our nation when men and women have died. And so the generation that really knows what this means is almost all gone now.
Yeah.
And so everybody now, they're getting all full of, oh, yes, we need all this nationalism, blah, blah, blah. That is the biggest BS, because I remember my mom talking about this stuff, and my aunt who was a lot older than she was, I want to say like 15 years older than she was, and they had friends, or not my mom, but my aunt had friends in World War II, and that upper generation that was part of it, it was horrible for them because so many did not come back.
Yeah,
And
Go on.
families were destroyed by that.
Yeah, patriotism is such a psyop,
It is.
especially when you find out who started America,
Yeah.
how it was all a bunch of Freemasons playing out the wet dream of some Rosicrucian who wrote the book New Atlantis, which was a favorite book of many of our founding fathers.
Yes.
And what do they call? Was occultists call Atlantis the Golden Age, right? What does Trump call his, dynasty ruling over America? The Golden Age, right? So it's all there. Also, very importantly, we would have in service every segment of our society represented so that our elected officials would be more hesitant and not as cavalier about sending their own sons and daughters off to a faraway war unless it was truly in our nation's interest. That makes absolutely no sense.
It has never happened. It never will happen. For centuries now, if you are part of the elite group, your child does not go. Or
No, it
if
really
they,
reminds
if
go
they
on.
do go, it's some kind of fake mission whereby they're safe the whole time.
Yeah, like George Bush Sr. His whole military service is a bunch of BS, and it really reminds me of that Creedence Clearwater Revival song. It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no millionaire son, because it's the peasants and the middle class and us serfs that get sent over in this meat grinder they call war. And this is just, and you know what? That's like I said, when it comes to fighting the Zionist agenda, which all countries are involved, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And on one side, you'll have all the Trump supporters going, yes, let's bring back the military draft. And on the other side, you'll have all the anti-Zionists look at this and say, this is crazy. And then they'll have their talking points. But when you realize the Zionists and the anti-Zionist movement has the fingerprints of intelligence all over it.
Right.
All over it. So this is one, I think, to usher in the draft possibly, which will be an unpopular thing. But that's also, I think this post is meant to piss off the other side. Because without the Zionists, the anti-Zionists would have nothing to talk about. And without the anti-Zionists, the Zionists, well, I guess the Zionists could still talk about stuff. But when you really go on social media and you see all these conversations back and forth, they're really dependent on the other, right?
Yes.
When creating the magic trick with all this word magic.
This is just such a crazy mix to me of death and trying to mix God into promoting death.
It's nuts.
It's like God wants you to do this. This is what God has us do from the beginning. And God has not called you to kill people. I'm just going to say it out loud. God has not called us to kill people. And that was never the solution we were supposed to be going after.
Yeah, I like also that it when it says we would have a service, we would have in service every segment of our society represented so our elected officials would be more hesitant and not as cavalier about sending their own sons and daughters off to a faraway war unless it was truly in our nation's interest. And that kind of reminds me of the whole First Amendment PSYOP.
Yeah.
Remember, the reason why they gave us guns was to protect us from a tyrannical government.
Right.
But when you understand the type of weapons they have today, with sound weapons, laser weapons, tanks, missiles, drones, I mean, in reality, the guns aren't going to do anything to stop them from carrying out their agenda and maybe turning on you. And in that same vein, just because you have more active population, that's not going to stop these governors and these principalities from carrying out their agenda. So I think that's all BS. But let's go on. Discussion and the implementation must begin. You hear that? It must begin.
Yeah.
To the young people of America, this is your country and your future. Well, it sure doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, the young people out there, if any segment of the population was against the agenda more than the other segment of the population, it definitely would be the young people.
Oh, yeah.
They seem to be waking up to this shit sandwich way more than the boomers.
Yes.
because the boomers are still getting their news from the mainstream media. Now, generation, what is it, Z or whatever, they might be woken up to the Zionist agenda, but they have no clue that they're getting carried down the same path of destruction in manufacturing this prophecy.
Well, and Gen Z got sucked into some of the military enlistment, not by force, but because right now that seems to be the best way to go so that they have both a job now, but it's also training for jobs in the future. And so there's been a lot of our young people who have willingly gone down and signed up just so that they would have work.
Yeah. And here it goes. We will leave this great and free nation in your good hands for your children and your children's children. But in this great nation, you won't be able to buy a house, have more than 1 or 2 kids without going on welfare. And you'll own nothing and be happy. Yeah, sure, Rob Schneider. And then he goes, God bless the United States of America. Love, the copy man, Rob Schneider. Deuce Bigelow. It's just crazy.
That's very sad. I'm so sad that he posted that.
Yeah, but it kind of makes you think that they're gearing up for something big.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Despite the talks of peace that are starting to swirl around the DC water cooler, when they sent J.D. Vance over to the Middle East to strike a peace deal with Iran. But I actually think that this is just a smokescreen to allow the angel of death to get into the Middle East and maybe take out the Iranian leadership. So maybe they get this big meeting together and you have all these peace talks.
Do you think?
I mean, we already know he took out Pope, and I'm not upset by him taking out the Pope. I'm not upset by him taking out the Pope, but I wonder if they're going to use him again to take out the Iranian leadership. They'll get together what?
Do you think on the other side, though, do you think that when they see that JD Vance is the one that's coming in, do you think they all go, oh, man, don't shake his hand. Whatever you do, don't shake his hand.
I think they're going to wear latex gloves to kind of protect themselves. He's like, man, this guy kills a lot of people just by shaking their hand. No, thank you. He'll reach across the table to shake hands, and the Iranian leadership's like, nah. No, actually, let me get one of my, assistants over here to shake your hand for me, and let's see if he dies.
The old cup bearer, now it's going to be the shake hands bearer.
Right? Well, they don't want the angel of death to kill him. Allegedly gay angel of death to kill him.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Let me just something. If there's any angel that's fake and lame, I think it's the angel of death. No. Do you know if the angel of death is one of the good angels, or is he one of the rebellious angels? Do you know?
The Bible's not very clear on that. I'm not sure. I don't think he seems to operate under God's direction. So I kind of lean more towards him being one of God's, but because, ultimately God decides when death happens. The enemy does not decide when we die. God decides when we die. So he's clearly getting his marching orders from God Almighty.
Yeah.
However, the nature of what he's been asked to do kind of feels very somber and judgy.
Yeah, and there's a lot on Vance's plate, vice president and the angel of death. He's like the hardest working demon in DC.
Well, yeah, the demon is, but
you think when the demon or the angel of death is done possessing him, as far as carrying out his roles as the vice president, when he goes to bed at night, he's like, all right, got to go back to work and kill a bunch of people.
I don't know.
All right, let's go on.
It's hard to know. There's so many of them. He's not the only one. There seems to be a whole crew of them.
Yes. So let's see what this article says. Vance was highly skeptical of Israel's rosy pre-war assessment of how the war would unfold. that currently expects the war to continue for another few weeks, according to U.S. Israeli sources. Vance advisors think some in Israel are trying to undermine the VP, possibly because they find him insufficiently hawkish. Wait, what does that say? That some people in Israel think that he is too hawkish, so they're trying to undermine him?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they want?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Of course they want this war.
Well, yeah, they want
Trust
the
me,
war, but I
trust me,
guess
him being too hawkish is not a problem for the Israeli government.
I think, I think there's a certain caution that's happening at the middle tier. If you read and believe Jerusalem Post and Times of Israel.
No, not any more than I believe the New York Times. Probably even less.
What do you mean you don't believe the New York Times? No, I'm kidding.
So here we have Vance's advisors think some in Israel are trying to undermine the VP, possibly because they find him insufficiently hawkish. Israeli officials deny that, as expected, because that's not true. President Trump made Vance's role official in a cabinet meeting on Thursday, asking the VP to give an update on Iran and noting that he was working with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner on the negotiations. Now that's the two people who are actually running the negotiations.
Yes.
JD Vance is going to be busy trying to figure out a plan on how to kill the leaders.
No, he's just sitting there talking to the demon going, okay, which hand do I shake next?
On Thursday, Trump extended his deadline for negotiations with Iran as Pakistani and Egyptian and Turkish mediators are trying to organize in-person talks. Iranian officials told the mediators that they're still waiting for a green light from top leadership. In such a summit happens, Vance could sit across the table from Iran's Speaker of Parliament, Mohammad Bagher Khalaf. See, that's what I'm talking about. The perfect scenario for him to reach across the table.
Yeah.
And take him out. The administration is also considering a major military escalation if diplomacy fails, which it will. But, when this was happening, it reminded me, at first you look at this, you're like, well, is the American government trying to distance itself from Israel with these peace talks, right? And what I'm reminded, if you think about it that way, is remember before, Israel and America first bombed Iran, there were all those talks about Trump creating distance from Netanyahu and the Israeli administration over there.
Yeah.
And all the mainstream media was talking about, this is the Trump we voted for. Keep on going, President Trump. And then a week later, they did Operation Midnight Hammer.
Yeah.
And I made a video on it. I'm going to play the quick video. Like I said, if you follow me on Instagram or if you've been following me on this podcast with Cindy here, we talk about all this stuff and we go against the grain, and that's usually the truth.
Yeah.
Right? We go against the propaganda of the mainstream media. We go against the propaganda of the mainstream alternative media. And that's where you'll actually get closer to the truth. And we still don't know the truth. I don't think any of us know the truth. I think we're all under some level of deception. But I'm going to play this quick video real quick of me actually exposing on how all this works. So you know that I'm not a phony when I tell you that we talk about this stuff way before the other people.
Over the last couple of weeks, I've been reporting on my podcast that the mainstream media wants you to believe that Trump has cut ties with Netanyahu. And the mainstream alternative media has parroted the same talking points. And as I suspected, it was all BS. Check out this article from yesterday. Trump expressed support for our war aims in phone call with Netanyahu. U.S. President Donald Trump expresses support for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's current objectives in Gaza, as well as the need to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon during a phone call conversation between the leaders today. And for the record, I don't think Israel or America, Trump or Netanyahu are the head of the snake. All these countries are fronts for these ancient Babylonian bloodlines that go all the way back to biblical giants. And their leaders are just puppets. All that to say, how much evidence do we need that this is all one big Masonic theater before we start treating the mainstream alternative media like the mainstream media and tune out and tune into the Holy Spirit, John 14. But the advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and will remind you of everything that I've said to you. So God bless and have a good day.
So remember when it said in the article that if talks fail, expect a major, invasion or a ground invasion in Iran?
Oh yeah.
Well, check out this letter that Leonard Anderson, Lieutenant Colonel of the U.S. Marines, wrote to all the Marines in and out of service. This is really crazy. And this went out on March 26, 2026.
Yeah.
You
It was
sent-
it started showing up in all the news stories on the 27th. So 2 days ago.
Yes. So maybe they know something that we don't know, and they expect these peace talks to fail because they were never expected to work. Our nation is in a consequential moment. Global events are shaping our nation's security, and we must be ready. I asked you directly, are you truly ready to deploy, fight, and win? Are your skills sharp, your standards high, and your gear prepared for immediate movement? Is your desert Marpat readily available? I don't know what that is. Is your gear packed and ready to pick up and more? Or is it stored away in a corner of your home? Are your family affairs in order? When the call comes, readiness will be assumed, not questioned. Your readiness is not a declaration. It's a daily commitment. This is not a theoretical exercise. Our forces are currently engaged in operation connected to Iran, and we are positioned to preserve stability in the Western Hemisphere. Our enemies get a vote, and a mass mobilization could become a reality. We are operating in this environment now. History demands our readiness today, tomorrow, and every day. Your preparation for combat is forged in your daily actions, your training, and the seriousness of which you handle every responsibility. We are measured not by our intentions, but by what we can do right now. Check out your readiness, tighten your standards, prepare your family. Our nation expects a disciplined, capable force ready for intimate action. This force is Marine Force Reserve. That standard begins with and must be held by you. Fight on. So he sent that to all the reserves because I think they're going to get called back up. What say you?
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing. Even should something miraculous come out of this and nothing happens in Iran, you've still got this whole thing going on with Cuba. We've still got a whole deal happening. Israel's got something going on with Lebanon and Syria. And so there's still a lot of action potentially where the United States could not only get involved in the Middle East, but also here closer to home. So I think if nothing else, they absolutely do need to have people ready to go. And this certainly underscores that.
Yeah, get ready. And they've already sent troops over to the Middle East.
Oh, yeah. Huge numbers.
Didn't Trump say before this, there'll be no boots on the ground? And of course,
he said we won on the first day and it was over.
He said we won during the 12-day war, but we only won for 6 months. And then we had to send them back.
Well, and he also said that they had completely annihilated the nuclear threat, and that turns out to have changed. So
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. And listen, just because they sent the angel of death to go kill the leadership and get peace That doesn't mean that that's what the leadership of Iran is being told to do by the principality that controls them.
That's right.
This is an interesting article. Remember, they're going to get ready for when talks go south to do a ground invasion, possibly. So let's read this article real quick. Iran says it is waiting for a possible U.S. ground assault as 3,500 troops arrive in the Middle East. Iran's parliament speaker accused the U.S. of secretly planning a ground attack while sending messages seeking to negotiate. Man, they think just like I think.
Yeah.
Right? And I talked about this years ago.
Yeah. Yes, you have. Yeah, I mean, we've been together sounding the alarm, but you have had lots of posts out there about it.
Yes, we have been. This podcast, we are ahead of our time.
Well, I think part of it is we've tried really hard never go to one extreme or the other, because the truth is usually somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I refuse to play tribalism, especially with a biblical perspective of the world. And I think that this is Satan's kingdom.
Absolutely.
I think he controls all countries.
Yes.
So, I don't support one or the other. I support the kingdom of our Messiah, Yeshua.
Yes.
And that is, his kingdom is not of this world.
That's right.
Full stop, period. So watch people, divide into tribes in this good versus bad paradigm, whether it's domestic politics or geopolitics. What you quickly realize is that it's all controlled by Satan.
Yes.
And he uses these bloodlines that go all the way back to Genesis, Deuteronomy 32, to carry out his actions. So yeah, we don't pick sides here. And when you don't pick sides, you can see the BS on every single side. Because if you go down the rabbit hole deep enough in whatever tribe you consider yourself to be a part of, you'll realize that the bloodlines that control that particular tribe are lock and step with the agenda, and they play a pivotal role within the global system of control.
Absolutely.
So back to the article. The enemy openly sends this is a quote. The enemy openly sends messages of negotiation and dialogue, but secretly is planning a ground attack, Iran's parliament speaker Muhammad said, according to the state media outlet IRNA and the state affiliated Tasnizm. The U.S. is, and I quote, unaware that our men are waiting for American soldiers to enter on the ground so they can set them ablaze and punish their regional partners forever, he added. So they're really setting something up here, I think, for a giant, bunch of fireworks. And at the end of the fireworks, the Dome of the Rock will be destroyed. Mark my words. Actually, I shouldn't say that in case it doesn't happen, but that's what I believe is going to happen. His comments came hours after the Washington Post reported that the Pentagon has drawn up plans for weeks of ground operations in Iran, short of a full-scale invasion. Even as President Donald Trump and key White House figures signaled they want to soon draw the conflict to a close, NBC News has not confirmed the report yet. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Friday that Iran has not responded to a 15-point peace proposal and intended to end the war sent by the U.S. negotiators, but said that there was a willingness to talk about certain things from the Iranian side. You buy that? You think they're talking?
No.
Right?
I think this has already been decided, and we're just seeing the theater of it play out, because clearly there's leadership, there's principalities on both sides that would love to kill as many people as possible, and they don't care about whether or not they kill their own. Period.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and look what he says right here, which leads me to think that they're gearing up for something big. So there's reports. I'm going to read two quick headlines. Rubio says U.S. expects to finish Iran operations in the next couple of weeks. And he's also reported saying Rubio says U.S. open to diverting weapons from Ukraine to Iran war.
Zelensky's got to be excited about that.
Oh, he's so pissed off right now. He's probably going straight to the White House or Silicon Valley, pulling his pants down, bending over, and saying, what's it going to take to continue to fund my ritual sacrifice of the Ukrainian and Russian people?
No, what's it going to take to restore, what was it, my $56 billion a month salary?
Well, he's got a bunch of houses he's got to pay for now. Listen, you can't just give him all this money and then pull it away. He's got a lifestyle to maintain. You know, like how all those NFL players, they go broke within 3 or 4 years of retiring.
Yeah.
Same thing's going to happen to Zelensky here when they start diverting all the funds over to Iran and Israel and America.
Yeah. It's hard to feel too sorry for him.
I don't feel sorry for any of them. But yeah, so that's what we kind of have for the war so far. I mean, we're going to get into some other stuff, but here's one right here. I mean, this was kind of crazy of Netanyahu right here. It's in, what's it called? Hebrew, right? So
Yeah.
I think he says some of the crazier things when he's just talking to the Israeli people. But here he says, Benjamin Netanyahu goes fully psychotic and tells the world that he will single-handedly change the entire face of the Middle East and that Israel will attack any country at any time. And I quote, "We will surprise them instead of them surprising us. We are attacking. We are the attacking side. We are initiating side. We take initiative. We attack." So once again, you have this illusion that America is kind of separating from the Israel agenda by trying to get peace with Iran, sending JD Vance. Meanwhile, you have Netanyahu saying full steam ahead. And like I said, it just reminds me of what happened before, you know, they initially attacked him in the 12-day war when they were talking about this decoupling of these interests. And I was going, that's not true. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. And what do you know? A few weeks later, they go in and they bomb Iran. And I think the same thing is going to happen again for this huge fireworks display that they're going to do.
Well, did you notice that Trump's already been, just in the last 48 hours, started talking about the Abraham Accords again?
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, when he was doing the Abraham Accords, they minted a coin with Trump on it, right?
Yeah.
The Israeli government.
Yes, they did.
Minted, I got to bring that up. Minted a coin
Yes.
that had Trump on it and a temple. Like he was going to be the guy for them. They're Cyrus, right?
Yeah.
To help them build that third temple.
But you know, here's the thing is I looked up that story because I keep hearing Cyrus, and I've never bought into that narrative because it's always presented as, well, that's because Trump's going to do the impossible. He's really the non-believer that will do the impossible for God's people and do what God's people need. However, if you go read the story is interestingly about the king of Persia.
Nephilim.
So he's King Cyrus of Persia, and he comes in there. He has this thing where God tells him to build the temple in Jerusalem so that people can worship him.
Yeah.
That's what not to worship God, but to worship King Cyrus.
Well, I think that lines up perfectly. I think that's exactly what Trump's going to want to do.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's always presented to us as this is some kind of godly thing that he's doing for all the Christians. And it's like, wait a minute, if you go read the story, this is really a bad king. Now, it turns out he ends up it's taken by the Israelites that go back, and so they set it up for God Almighty, and he never gets worshipped in that temple. But talk about a precursor of the Antichrist that is talked about in Revelation, where he goes in and declares himself the God that everybody has to worship.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is the Antichrist. I'm just saying the whole narrative around this has Antichrist implications.
Yeah. 100%. Well, that's why they're building that temple.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about it, is that, if you know anything about the third temple, which they're clearly trying to build,
Yes.
they have been for a while. The only reason you would ever build that third temple is for prophetic implications.
Yes.
Right? Like they are literally, and it's a group of both Jewish and Christian Zionists that are trying to help facilitate this. And listen, that doesn't mean the other countries aren't involved either, because in every great war, which building the third temple will result in, you need your good guys and your bad guys. And it changes depending on what side you're on. But they need to facilitate this war somehow.
Well, I can guarantee there will be illegal sacrifices done this week. We're coming up on Passover. And every year for the last, it's been like 10 years now, I think, there have been the same kind of group of people that go in there and they get as close to the Dome of the Rock as they can, and they offer a sacrifice because that's where the temple was.
Yeah, and that's my thing for, both Jewish and Christian Zionists out there. It's like God said that these things will happen. Yeah. Never that we should help make them happen.
That's right.
And in order for you to bring on the Moshiach or to bring on Jesus, these people are willing to kill billions of people to do that.
Yes, they are.
And that is absolutely insane to me. I think these people who play pivotal roles in this, not just the people who are deceived, I think we're all deceived to a certain extent, but the people who are actually playing a pivotal role in this stuff, I think they'll be judged accordingly. I think those are people who, if they are true believers, they might have more of a relationship with their religion than with actual God. But I also think that, a lot of the big time people in both the Jewish and Christian community, we're talking about the influencers, within the temple or the church, I think, despite what they're telling you, they're in on it. And who they're actually trying to bring in is the Antichrist. They want to usher the Antichrist in, not because the Messiah is going to come, but because they want, at least I think, these principalities and these powers who've been locked up in the abyss want this final rendezvous with God Most High and our Messiah Jesus. And I think this is what they're trying to do by manufacturing this prophecy.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really crazy to watch it unfold. It's a little different because I think all of us who grew up with this, we kind of thought it would unfold a little more organically. I had never really envisioned this until the last several years. This idea that you have people trying to make it happen, in a sense, to manipulate God into sending Jesus back.
Yeah.
Is kind of what it's all about. And that's crazy to me.
Sorry. Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. So that's why I say, dude, reject it all. Right? I think we should just reject all earthly movements and focus on God's kingdom movement, kingdom agenda, right?
Yes.
Bringing people into the fold. That's what God has tasked us all to do. That is real spiritual warfare, as Dr. Michael Heiser likes to talk about.
Absolutely.
Spreading the gospel is the real spiritual warfare that's going on. All this other stuff, Satan wants us to get lost in the sauce. Satan wants us to get tribal. Satan wants us to start acting with hate in our heart. And trust me, the worldly governors, the bloodlines that run all these various countries are doing their best to get us to follow whatever tribe we're in. But remember, as we point out throughout this entire show and this entire podcast, both the Zionists and the anti-Zionists work hand in hand.
Yes.
It's intelligence all over it. And ultimately, it's leading us down to the same path of destruction.
Yes, 100%.
So now we've talked about and listen, I would love to show videos of missiles hitting buildings, reports of, damage on both sides. But the truth is, I don't know. I really don't. I mean, think about this. We now have the internet, social media, where we can now upload videos and there's more citizen journalists. But with the, invention of AI slop, with agents in both movements presenting to be independent, it's just more, diluted or more, it's so much more mucky. And I have no clue what's really going on. I really couldn't tell you. On one side, they'll say, Israel's taking mass casualties. On the other side, they'll say Iran's taking the mass casualties. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle, but I really don't know.
Well, and to your point, it's really a sad time, because literally every single thing that you see, my first thought, whether it's a good video or not, is that it's AI. And so I was spending a lot of time going and looking for other news that basically supported whatever was in the video. And what I'm finding out is, okay, so I go out there, say I find that all of these news outlets are reporting on the same thing. What have I really confirmed? I've confirmed that they all have the same narrative. I still have not confirmed whether or not it's true.
Yeah, I really don't know. So all I know is what their end goal is, right? Their end goal is manufacturing this prophecy. That's what this is all about. Like, that's how I filter all world events through.
Yes.
Is through what is their goal? Okay, they want to manufacture this prophecy. They want to usher in their new global system. It appears that they're using political Zionism to destroy the current system. So then they can then rebuild this new one world technocratic government, usher in the aliens or the fallen angels, which we're going to get into now. I think that's a great segment for the next topic, but that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
So when you understand that, you can start to make sense of why certain things happen. Like what we pointed out before. Why did Netanyahu go out on national TV? Could have been AI, could have not, but why did he go out and diss Jesus, especially when he needs the support of the evangelical crowd in America? Why would he go and do that? Well, if you understand that within this prophecy, the nations or the people turn on Israel, right? And by the actions of their government and their leaders, it goes hand in hand, like I said, it starts to make sense why he would go out and do something that we perceive is not in his interest when it comes to fulfilling, this taking out of Iran. But when you understand the macro level, the end game, it's the people turning on Israel, it starts to make a little bit more sense.
Yes.
So I think it's very important. But the alien aspect of this stuff, that's another end time scenario. And some things got pretty weird and in Australia.
I'm laughing because it's been weird for a while, but yes, it continues to get more weird.
Yes. Did you see this?
Yes.
When it turned, I'm a player. Yeah. So if you're watching it right now,
that's like one of my favorite videos. Not because they had to go through it, if indeed they did.
I want to know what in the HAARP is going on. And if you're listening, we are playing a video in Australia, and let me just read you the description of this.
It looks real.
Yeah, it does look real. Well, is it AI or is it HAARP messing with the weather? I think HAARP.
I would vote HAARP for that for sure. So that's part of this whole fake thing. It's like, okay, which level is fake? Is the narrative fake? Is the video fake? is that what's happening actually happening, but it's been manufactured in a fake way, and you're being told that it was a natural Earth occurrence?
Yeah.
There's so many levels of fake going on. It's crazy.
Yeah. And like the Northern Lights are happening so much more than they used to. It's like every 3 months we're getting more Northern Lights, and I think that's all HAARP as well. But let's just read this description of this blood red atmosphere that, kind of took over Australia. Apocalyptic sky just turned blood red. and people are starting to panic. Man, that would have been pretty wild. I would have just been like, yep, HAARP's up to something. Don't worry, fellas. Nothing new. Entire towns swallowed in red haze in Western Australia as a powerful cyclone. I mean, I guess that's the scientific reason they give us for this. I'm not sure if I buy it, but a cyclone pushes massive dust clouds inland, turning the sky blood red and orange. Daylight erased in minutes. Air turned thick and unbreathable. Visibility gone. The sky doesn't look real anymore. They are calling it a dust storm driven by Cyclone Nariel. But people on the ground say it feels like the world just changed, like something crossed a line we weren't supposed to reach. Now I'm wondering if, they fired up CERN a couple of weeks before this.
Well, they've got all of these portals, these everywhere. Their machines are everywhere now. So, I mean, they can manufacture this pretty much anywhere they want to.
And doesn't the Bible say we will see signs and wonders?
Oh, yes, it does.
And we're starting to see that with the alien PSYOP. A lot of people think that the alien PSYOP is a distraction from, say, the Epstein files or the Iran war, but I don't think they're distractions from each other. I think they're all part of the overall agenda. And I think the alien aspect of that or the alien PSYOP within that aspect of the agenda is about the ushering in Mystery Babylon.
Yes.
When the gods return, and we know, I shouldn't say gods, but the Bible calls them gods. But these are sons of gods. But even in Psalms 82, I believe it says, you are gods.
Yes.
Then it says sons of the Most High.
But they're lowercase.
Yeah,
gods.
lowercase Elohim, right? They're rebellious sons of God, rebellious angels. I think those are what, aliens actually are. But check this out. Dude, they're just, bringing JD Vance all over the place here.
Release all the UFO files.
We're working on it. It's funny. When I came in, I was obsessed with the UFO files. And then you start getting really busy worrying about the economy and national security and things like that. But I've still got 3 more years as vice president. I will get to the bottom of the UFO files.
Okay.
Please don't remind me. 3.5 more years of this.
The aliens.
What?
Maybe the aliens are scared that he's going to come shake their hand or their paw or whatever they've got.
Have you done a peek?
Have I what?
Have you done a peek? I mean,
So I actually haven't. I have
full
not.
Independence Day.
I have not been able to spend enough time on this to really understand it. Yeah. But I am going to. Trust me, I'm obsessed with this. I've already had a couple of times where I'm like, all right, we're going to Area 51. We're going out to New Mexico. We're going to sort of get to the bottom of this.
It's an interesting story, Cindy.
What?
So I play pool with this one guy who is an engineer.
Yeah.
And his whole family are engineers. And he claims that his brother actually worked at Area 51 for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he was never allowed to talk about it. Still hasn't talked about it. But this is what he said. He said he went in an atheist, lasted for 4 years.
Yeah.
Quit and left a Christian.
Oh, wow.
So if that doesn't tell you the things, what weird things are going on at Area 51, I don't know what else does.
Yeah. That tells you that something's scaring him back to God. There's nothing like seeing the ugly hand of the enemy and seeing what he's capable of to be like, okay, I'm going back to Dad. I'm going back to my Heavenly Father because I know that he loves me and he's going to take care of me.
I wonder if he ran into some reptilians down in one of those bases.
Oh, I bet he did. He did.
And let me tell you one thing, though. Like the alien PSYOP, when I'm in my mobile ministry, a.k.a. Uber, it's one of my greatest tools when telling them the truth within our ancient past, but more specifically, the truth within the Bible. And I use secular concepts to describe biblical truths. So a lot of people know this idea that reptilians run the world, right?
Yes.
When I tell them, well, what if I told you they're not quite reptilian aliens, but they're the sons of God from the Bible. They're rebellious angels that were sent down here a long time ago.
Yeah.
And what do you know? There's a classification of B'nai Elohim called a seraphim that literally means serpent-like.
Yeah.
Right. So, and
Yeah.
I'll even say that with the simulation theory, right?
Yeah.
That's just a secular way of describing
Yeah.
the truth within Genesis. Because if you believe it's a simulation, you then believe that there's a creator to the simulation,
Yes.
which Genesis tells us clearly someone created the universe, someone created the earth, someone created us.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't all by chance, but let's get to the video.
And then the timing of the trip just didn't work out. But trust me, anybody who's curious about this, I'm more curious than anybody. And I've got 3 years of the very, very tippy top of the classification. I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Okay, so you haven't been to Area 51 yet.
Not
Okay.
yet,
Some
not
people
yet.
say they keep the UFOs in Ohio. You know, they might
Yeah,
have
Hangar
been
18, Hangar 18,
right
right?
under your nose the whole time.
I've heard that as well, but I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet.
And let me tell you, he definitely knows these aliens intimately because, you know, that reptilian Peter Thiel has been so far up that butt.
Gosh.
What's he talking about? He doesn't know.
Well, you know,
I bet
every
when Peter Thiel pulls his pants down, he's got scales all over his you know what.
well, you know, these guys I would think would know better because of Bohemian Grove every year.
Right?
Gosh.
Okay. All right. Well, we're waiting for it. We saw
And
aliens.gov.
you know me.
We saw
You know me.
aliens.gov.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway, but that's a longer discussion.
Well, I can't let you go without a follow-up on that because Barack Obama is on this podcast and he goes, "Yeah, aliens are real, but like, here's where they're not." And you know,
I did not.
and so Obama
I
says,
didn't
"Yes,
hear that
aliens."
one.
He gets asked point blank, "Are aliens real?" He says, "Oh yeah," and then he goes, "But they're not at Area 51." And
Well,
that's,
where are they?
well, that's what he says. Right. That's a great question.
I need to
Trump
see
had to go
this-
save
I
him,
need
and
to
he
see
said
this
he's going to
podcast.
declassify.
Okay.
So you think they're demons?
Well, look, I think that celestial beings who fly around, who do weird things to people, I think that the desire to describe everything celestial, everything as otherworldly, to describe it as aliens. I mean, every great world religion, including Christianity, the one that I believe in, has understood that there are weird things out there, and there are things that are very difficult to explain. And I naturally go when I
Like Peter Thiel's scaly dick.
hear
But
about sort of extra natural.
that's really hard to explain to the general public. Why, when he pulls down his pants to get up in those guts, there's scales all over Peter Thiel's dick.
I just want to know why he's pulling down his pants in this scenario.
Well, because, you know, if you want to be included in the agenda, you get a golden ticket straight to the front of the line if you bend over and let Peter Thiel put his scaly reptilian dick up in those guts. God, forgive me for my words right now. But, you know, sorry, there's some ways to describe things, and I can't think of any better way than that to describe what it takes to get into the Peter Thiel ecosphere.
Okay. There are just no words.
But and I don't, it's weird with the, you know, the angels, aliens, demons, are they all the same? And truthfully, I don't know, but what I believe, and maybe, you know, give your opinion after this, I think that the quote unquote aliens are the B'nai Elohim. And clearly, if you read the Bible, when there was a great war in the heavens amongst the B'nai Elohim, 1/3 rebelled, 6% stayed. So there's clearly good and evil B'nai Elohim. I think demons are the spirits of the disembodied giants, according to the book of Enoch. However, I will say that all the quote unquote aliens that seem to be visiting people or interact with us currently, they're all have a demonic nature to them. Like they're up to no good.
Right.
So what would you say? Well, what's your idea about aliens, angels, demons? Do you think they're all the same? Do you think there's classifications? I mean, how do you think this works?
I think that mankind feels the need to classify everything. And I think there's a lot of mystery in the Bible, and there's a lot that we don't know. We're presented stories based on what's there. And I think it's very limiting to think that the only entities mentioned in the Bible are the only ones that are out there. Because there's a lot that the Bible doesn't talk about that we have discovered in archaeology that is that's clearly pointing to rebellious entities of some sort. Whether or not they're fallen angels, whether or not they're Nephilim, it's hard to say. They certainly follow that narrative, but I would just say that I'm not in a place in my spiritual walk where I'm going to like put something I'm not sure about into a category, only because our God is so much bigger than we can imagine. He can do so much more than we can imagine. And anytime that we try to put a limit on him, he will break the rules. And since I know him to be that way, what we consider to be the rules, since I know him to be that way, I think it all comes down to, do you serve God or are you rebellious against God? That seems to be the dividing line. It's one way or the other. That's it.
That's why I like calling them Elohim.
Yes.
Right? Or B'nai Elohim.
Yes.
And, just like on this earthly realm, God created us and we are his children. In the heavenly realm, the B'nai Elohim that he has created are his children too, right?
Yes.
So that would encompass all different types of creation. And if you look at what biblical angels actually look like, from the seraphim, from the cherubim, from the Ophanium, there's clearly different types of angels out there, or Elohim, or what I guess the government would call aliens, that are not quite, angels with porcelain skin and flowing blonde hair and a sword, right? I think there's all types of different creation out there. No, I'm with you. And that's just like I said, I like to classify it as just B'nai Elohim. And beyond that, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a whole civilization that came before we get even to the Eden story.
So you believe in the gap theory?
Probably.
This idea that Genesis is actually, and I actually kind of subscribe to this a little bit. Genesis is a recreation story. And somewhere in between the first and second day, I think it is, or the first and second line, some major catastrophe happened on Earth with the entities that were living here, and they destroyed the entire Earth. And Genesis is actually a recreation story.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I just know that there's an awful lot of archaeological sites that seem to point to civilizations that happen way before our known history, and they suggest that there had to have been entities here that were in the sky. There were entities here that were much larger than our current giants. Those in particular seem to kind of adhere to Genesis 6, the whole Nephilim part. But the whole thing, from when you can fly over an area like Peru and you see these markings on the ground that you cannot see when you're on the ground, but you can see them from above. And we've just now had airplanes allegedly for the first time in the last 100 years. When you take all that into consideration, where and when did all that happen? It happened at some point on this planet.
Yeah, well, I think that points to Genesis 6:4. When the gods came down here, the sons of God came down here, mated with women, and created the giants. And they are on the earth before and after the flood. So I would say those Naztec lines that you're talking about that the Pope wears on his dress were from, you know, the B'nai Elohim from Genesis 6:4, possibly. Or maybe a second incursion that Gary talks about.
I don't have a problem with that. I guess that there's structures in that same area that suggest UFO type of landing pads, that where they seem to suggest that it's a place where ships can take off and go into the sky. And so this is a piece, again, the Bible doesn't tell us. I'm not going to rule it out that it wasn't Genesis 6, but at the same time, you kind of have to wonder, was it Genesis 6 or did it happen before? At what point in history were all of these kind of shockingly advanced technologies used that were lost forever?
Well, that's why I think that you would like the gap theory.
Yeah.
That suggests that, like I said, I think it's between the first and second verse, and theologians have come up with this, not me, that there was some great catastrophe or war amongst the beings on this earth based off the Hebrew language and the way it's described.
Yeah.
And then it's a recreation story. So that kind of coincides with what you believe a little bit, and myself, that there might be civilizations older than Genesis 6, possibly.
Well, and like all this, they've uncovered 12 underwater kingdoms that were original to this planet that are now buried underwater.
Well, that points to the flood, right?
Yeah. And so, well, it also points to this idea of the whole planet shifting and moving, continents moving around, and some of the theories around that. That's kind of been an archaeological thing for years. But I think it all comes down to a big we don't know. And
Yeah.
I'm okay with that because I know that God has been at the forefront of it all from the beginning. And I may not know every detail of what happened in the beginning. And the truth is, it's funny because people want to argue about it and say, oh, it's got to be this or that. I'm like, so do you have pictures? What do you have? What kind of proof do you have?
Yeah, well, there's that idea that, you know, the day 6 people are a different creation than Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
And I think you can make a great case for that biblically.
Absolutely. Because I mean,
like when they were thrown out of the garden.
Yes.
And then you have that major fight between Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
And Cain asked God to put a marking on his head, I believe, because he was afraid of being killed. Well, who was he afraid of being killed by?
Yeah.
And then when he went and out on his journey, he started creating cities. Well, who did he build the cities for unless there was people already on the earth?
Right. Exactly.
Which is why a lot of people think that the day 6 people, they became so corrupted, and the creation of Adam and Eve was like a counter to that corruption. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the skies this week as well. And I'll play a few videos. And if you're listening, these are UAPs supposedly that they're kind of calling meteors. But here's one in Texas, outside of Austin. And it shows a plane going by there. And then look at those little white things in the air that definitely don't look like, I mean, what do you think those look like?
UFOs.
UFOs, holograms, maybe. Maybe they can do this with all the satellites that Elon Musk shot up into the sky. Here's another one. Look at this one.
Oh, that looks like Starlink.
Yeah, but watch this thing move. Pretty crazy.
That's pretty cool, actually. See, I love those kind of videos.
And then there's this one too. I'm going to fast forward to this, and then I think we'll
shadow figure, and then at time.
Here's this lady.
I hear a plane behind me. Whatever that is about to land in the woods. and it's sideways. It's literally flying sideways, and it's huge. Oh, I see a lot of.
Oh, there we go. Isn't that super weird?
I think it's super cool.
Yeah. And hey, maybe next podcast, till I don't have it here.
With my eyes,
I
it
actually
looks
have videos that I recorded myself of some weird things in the sky. So I think this is all the alien PSYOP is to get us ready for when these rebellious sons of God come back. They're probably going to tell us that they created us, and then all humanity will start worshiping them, and that will be the component of this new system they're trying to usher in with regards to Mystery Babylon and the spiritual component of this whole agenda.
Project Blue Beam.
You know, get rid of the God of the Bible, because they're going to blame the God of the Bible on the war that destroyed everything. The aliens are going to come back, save all of us from killing ourselves completely. And they're going to say, see what the God of the Bible did? He's a liar, not real, but we're real. And we created you. Now worship us. And you, Bill Gates, bend over and get ready to get probed. I think that's how it's all going to work.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, especially the part where they save humanity, because we've already had several, for years now, there's been several different reports that have come out and said that, you know, they were just testing like missile systems and nuclear missile sites and things like that. And when they started to fire it up, all of a sudden UAPs would appear over the facility, and then nothing would work. And so you add to that, you know, these big Nephilim appearing, the reappearance of the giants, everybody's going to pay attention.
Yeah. One more funny story before we go, but we've been doing this for a while, right?
Yep.
I mean, we're about an hour 18 into it. Trump's signature is coming to U.S. currency as cash use fades.
Funny.
It is funny, but you know, this is the thing. Like, what's the important part of this headline? Is it the fact that Trump is signing U.S. dollars instead of, you know, the Treasury Secretary? No, but that's initially what people are getting mad at. I think the important part of this headline is as cash use fades. That's what we should really worry about, because once cash is stopped being used, and we're not using it right now. That's the crazy part. We're not using it. Once they get rid of the physical dollar or the penny or whatever, get ready for all of our freedom to be taken away. That's the last bastion of freedom that we have.
Yeah.
Once it all goes digital, you know, then we're screwed. And it's already almost there. I think something like all but 14% of payments are all done digitally now.
Oh, yeah.
So we're already not using cash. So why people get pissed off about him signing this stuff, which is kind of dumb but funny at the same time, and just right up his alley or his persona that he's trying to convey to everybody. The real problem is that we're going cashless, and get ready for your real freedom of speech to be taken away. Because if you say the wrong thing and everything is digital, guess what? They can turn off your bank account. Then you really can't, you know, have any sorts of freedom. So I just thought that was kind of funny that Trump was signing all the bills from now on.
I thought it was funny, but everybody's getting upset about it. And I'm like, really? This is the one this is the hill you're going to die on?
Yeah. All right. Anything else that you want to say before we go?
No, that was fun. We covered some really cool stuff. I love the UAP stuff. We should do more of that.
Yeah. It is very interesting stuff. And especially, like I said, I've actually taken videos of this stuff. So whether the videos that we're seeing on Instagram, real, fake, or whatever, I actually have real videos that I have recorded of these orbs doing weird things. So they are out there.
Yes.
Now, whether they're ours that we reverse engineered and they're using for the alien PSYOP, maybe they are visitors from outside this dimension. I don't know. But they exist. And it's all part of this ushering in this alien PSYOP. And I think when it comes to that, it's like you got to shit or get off the pot at some point. They've
Yeah.
they've been running this alien PSYOP on us for so long. At some point, these demonic angels are going to come back.
Yeah.
And get ready, right?
Well, I mean, there's all kinds of history of there being UAPs around. I mean, when I was in Texas, I even found a story about a whole series of sightings in the 1800s. It was in the newspapers at the time.
Oh yeah, but you go back to older pictures,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like ancient pictures. There's
I'm just
people
saying
flying in like star star vehicles.
I'm saying in the United States though, but I mean I think we kind of attribute it to like ancient history, but it's been in the news off and on for several hundred years.
For sure. So they're gonna come back, and I say, let's just let's just make sure our foundation is God during all of this.
Yes.
Throughout all the deception. If you don't want to fall for it, and the Bible says, for even the elect will be deceived. For that not to happen, it is important for us to abide in God. It's important for us to abide in the Spirit, to take that narrow path with our Messiah, Jesus. This is what's actually going to protect us from the agenda. And if we're not abiding in the Spirit, if we're not showing the fruits of the Spirit, then we're going to be, wiped away, down one of these paths that we do not want to go. And I think God and that Spirit of God's is going to protect us from all this stuff. So that's what we need to do. That's what we need to focus on. It's fun to talk about this stuff, but only to point out its fallacy, right? To bring people to the real truth, which is the truth of the gospel, which is the truth of our salvation, because God sent his son to die for our sins. And thank God that he did, because that must have been a real tough decision, right? To see all that stuff go down.
Yes.
To, our Messiah. But thank God. And I think that's how we get through it.
Yes. It's a love we don't understand here.
That agape love, right?
Yeah. It's
that unconditional love for us humans. Because we just rebelled. I mean, if you read the Old Testament,
it's just
the New Testament,
it doesn't stop.
And even now, like there's just a history. We are a habitual species that just likes to rebel against our Creator.
Yes.
So if you want to fight the agenda, stop rebelling.
Yes.
Submit to God's will. Teach other people to submit to God's will. That's how you really fight the agenda. Like I said, that's the real spiritual warfare.
Well, and get to know God, get to know and talk to the Holy Spirit. Just that, we talk about it, in terms of abiding and walking the narrow path. But what does that really look like? That's actual conversation back and forth with God.
Yep. Keep that dialogue open. He just wants to hear from you.
Yes.
All throughout the day, just like we have our other friends or family members that we have relationships, we have a ongoing dialogue with that person. And that's what God wants. God wants us, when life gets hard, instead of going the way of the world, who wants us to go, God, help me here. I need your help. God will allow us to break, exhaust all of our earthly options, so we're forced to call on him. That's what he wants.
And so for some of us, that's every hour.
But so that's, I guess, all we have to say. If you're still listening to the podcast, we should have done this earlier, but thank you for listening.
Yes.
Much appreciated. It's always nicer to have an audience that's as crazy or more crazy than we are.
Yes.
I mean, they might be even crazier than we are. The fact that they listen to us.
You're correct.
But if not going along with the agenda is considered crazy, I'm glad to wear that hat.
Amen.
I'm crazy for God. I'm crazy for Jesus. I'm crazy for the truth. And the one thing I know is not the truth is whatever slop the intelligence service is feeding you. And it's all slop.
It really is.
It's all slop. It's all fake and lame. And even the religious institutions, it's all slop, right? Yes. The true body is all those who are faithful to God.
Yes.
Period. Full stop. True faith. True faith. Right.
Yes.
Not just believing, because according to James, even the demons believe.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
There's something more to that, which I think points to an ongoing relationship with God is true faith, right? It's if we
Yes.
show up all day. If we are faithful to God, then what? We have a relationship with him, right? We
Yes.
show up every single day. And we're going to have bad days. We're going to have days where we're less in tune with the Spirit. But I think each day we should try to show up and say, here I am, Lord. Do with me what you will. Please impart your wisdom on me. Please operate through me so I can convey your message to all those around me. May I love my brother like I love myself. Oh, like Jesus loves us, right? That's the updated commandment he gives us.
Yes.
Love other
Love one
people like
another. We're supposed to
I've
love
loved
one
you,
another. Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's what God's calling all of us to do. So if we're not doing that, then we're not being any service of God, right? We're like a wash.
Yes. I mean, that's how we differentiate ourselves from the world is we actually show his love.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. Sometimes you have to really pray through it because not all of us are lovable.
Yeah. And shout out to everybody who either made donations or sent us prayers. You know, there's some people that sent us prayers that I just loved that they typed on the internet as a comment. So we ask for prayers continually.
Thank
And
you.
actually, I would like to ask some prayers for my father right now.
Yeah.
He has, myocarditis from the vaccine, the cooties vaccine. So if you could keep him in your prayers, it would be much appreciated.
Yes. Definitely.
And keep us in your prayers, and we'll keep you in our prayers as well. So have a good day.
Thanks,
And
everybody.
God bless.